Okay, good morning, guys. In this session, I'm going to explain for you about the branches of biology. As we started at the beginning of the year introducing biology as the study of life, I've mentioned that biology it has a lot of related topics that lies under the umbrella of biology. So during this year, we are going to study some about ecology, some about cell biology, some about human biology. But these are only some branches of the many branches of biology. So in this concept map, as can you see, we have the biology at the top. Biology talks about animals, about living organisms, about plants, about inheritance, how we take the features and the characteristics from our parents. So it's not only about studying living organisms, it's studying living organisms and what is related to living organisms, including where they live, what they eat, and how they interact with each other. So, as we said, biology is the study of life and everything related to life. You can watch this video later. I will share it with the presentation. These are some common branches of biology, but still there are more. We start with zoology. As can you see, it's the study of animals, their behavior, their classifications. So if you are interested of knowing more about animals, their classifications, how they are related, and how they behave, what they eat, their systems, it's good to study zoology. On the other hand, botany is the study of plants, and the same thing. Sorry, their classification, their types, and there are many types of plants. We have flowering plants, non-flowering plants. We have plants with seeds or seedless plants, and other types of plants. And we have like plants that don't grow. Sorry, that don't grow too long. So all these plants are classified. If you study botany, you will be able to understand more about plants. So this is the second branch, zoology, animals, botany for plants. We move to microbiology. Now, microbiology, it comes from the term microorganisms. Microorganisms are organisms at a microscopic scale. So microscope comes from micrometer. Micrometer, it means like you have meters, you have centimeters, millimeters, you have micrometers, 10 to the power minus 6 meters, 0.0000001 meter. Okay, so it's a very small scale that cannot be seen by your eyes. When we talk about microbiology, usually we talk about organisms that cannot be seen by the eye, speaking about viruses, about bacteria, about pathogens, germs mainly. So people who are interested in knowing more about how viruses and how bacteria behave, how they affect humans, you need to study microbiology. Microbiology play a very important role in fighting diseases and viruses such as COVID-19 nowadays, because those microbiologists, those who study microbiology, they do investigation, they understand how the virus or the bacteria reproduce, and this is very important for us to understand how to fight or how to deal with that pathogen. So this is the third type, microbiology. The fourth type is ecology. Eco is from the environment around us. In ecology, we study the biosphere, all living organisms. We study the geosphere. We study the rocks, the mountains. We study the atmosphere. We study the air, the layers of air, the gases. And we study the hydrosphere, including the water, salt water, fresh water, the ice, springs, etc. Okay, this is very important because we cannot survive without our surroundings, because they will provide, the surrounding provides us with food, with habitat to live, etc. Okay, so we study even in ecology the interaction among living organisms, and this year in grade 9 we are going to focus a lot on ecology. And this is the fourth branch of biology that we are studying. Now, we move to the fifth branch of biology, which is genetics. From its name, genetics, from genes, from DNA. This is related not to classification of living organisms, not to plants. This is related to how features and traits move from parents to offspring. So genetics is the study of heredity. Heredity, it's how we take our traits, our characteristics from our parents. And this is very important, again, to understand genetic diseases, such as maybe cancer, such as diseases that are inherited from the parents. Okay, so in genetics, we study DNA. We study how changes in DNA, mutations, cancers, and we study everything related to genes. Not only in human, we can study genetics for even plants and all other living organisms. Moving to cell biology, it's very easy from its name. We can call this branch even cytology. So it's either cell biology or cytology. It's the study of the cells. Now, even though when we look at the cell, we see it's a cell, nothing, just a nucleus and a membrane and cytoplasm, there is a lot to study about cells. Actually, if you want to study biology and ecology, you will take like 3 or 4 courses only about the cell. Because even though the cell is microscopic and very small, but there are a lot of things happening inside the cell. There is cell division, there are production, there is like factories making energy, releasing wastes. So cell biology is the field that allows you to understand how cells work. And as you know, cells are the basic units of life. And this is the 6th branch we are discussing today. We move to the 7th one, which is biochemistry. Now, biochemistry is divided to bio and chemistry. You might say how they are related. Yes, they are very, even physics is related to biology. We'll discuss this later. So as for biochemistry, chemistry deals with chemical reactions, changes in matter, changes in atoms and molecules, creating new atoms. And actually, this is happening inside living organisms. And this is happening when you breathe, when you take in oxygen. The oxygen, which is gas state, it has to be dissolved in your blood. There is a chemical reaction that allows this to happen. Another example is when you eat food. Food is complex molecules that has to be broken down. And there are chemical reactions happening inside living organisms that allow the living organisms to survive. So biochemistry, it studies these reactions within living organisms. One more example that you are very familiar with is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis, as you know, it's carbon dioxide plus water gives C6H12O6, which is glucose, plus oxygen. This is a chemical reaction. It happens within living organisms. So if you study biochemistry, you might be studying about cellular respiration, about photosynthesis, about breaking down food, about the changing of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the body, and a lot of other chemical reactions. And we move to the 8th branch for today, which is anatomy. Anatomy, it's the study of organs. It's the study of organs mainly in animals and the humans. Okay, in anatomy, you study how the system is arranged. Mainly, we study the names. So if you study anatomy at the college, it's honestly it's a very difficult subject because you need to memorize 206 bones. You need to memorize the names of the organs, their location, their functions. Okay, anatomy is very important. If you want to become a doctor, for example, you need to know everything about each organ. You need to know about the brain, the parts of the brain. You need to know the size, the dimensions, because if you see a picture, X-ray, for example, or MRI for a brain, you have to determine which part has a problem, for example. Or you have to tell, okay, this part, what is the name of this part? This is called the frontal lobe. This is called cerebellum, for example. Okay, or this is a liver. It's made of many lobes. There is a damage in this part. So anatomy deals with names. Mainly, when we study human biology, we need to know anatomy because we need to know the location and the function of the organs. So again, let's pass again with all the branches that we discussed. We said zoology, botany, microbiology, ecology, genetics, cell biology. Okay, geology, we did not discuss it. It's mainly the study of rocks, the study of the non-living part of Earth, but it is related to living organisms. But again, I'm telling you, we don't study only living organisms. We study where they live. So geology, it studies where we live. It studies earthquakes, for example. And in geology, we study fossils. And you know, fossils are they tell us about the living organisms that used to live thousands or even more years ago. And we studied anatomy. Now, so are these the 9 the only branches? No, there are more. There is, and biochemistry, there is biotechnology, and there are even more. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to refer to the assignment in week 4, session 1. You need to write 8 branches, get a picture about the branches, explain about them. I know that I already did that. You have to do it again to memorize it. And you need to mention the name of the scientist who studies each branch, like biology, biologist, zoology, zoologist. Okay? This is your task. And this is what we are supposed to finish today.